Hello and welcome to Is This Your Card? Today we're looking at Arcane Shot. Arcane Shot is a one-cost card that does 2 damage. Now, Arcane Shot is incredibly simple, which is probably why it's not necessarily that widely seen. Arcane Shot just does straight up 2 damage to anything you like for 1 mana. It's nice, it's a bit like Moonfire from a Druid, which is no mana but then does 1 damage. This is just 1 mana more and 1 damage more, so it's fairly well scaled in that aspect. As for how useful it is, well, do remember that for 1 mana you can effectively kill any creature on the board if you have Hunter's Mark, because Hunter's Mark lowers a minion's health to 1, which is rather nice. But then, I don't often see this combination used much, though it is an incredibly cost-effective combo in reducing the health and killing 1 minion. It's a bit like the Equality Consecrate combo from Paladin, except focused onto a single minion, and costing about 5 mana less. Very useful for getting rid of those gigantic minions. Then again, if it's the only minion on the board, you can just Deadly Shot, which costs 1 less card but 2 more mana. And obviously, later in the game, mana is much easier to expend and much more expendable than cards are. Arcane Shot stacks nicely with spell power. It's also a 1 mana spell, meaning that Arcane Shot will actually proc Gazlowe, which is rather nice. This means that Arcane Shot has utility outside of your classical deck that is just based on beasts for Hunter. You could use it in a Hunter mech based deck with Metal Tooth Leaper, because it will synergize with Gazlowe if you have him. You can also use Arcane Shot quite nicely as early game removal, but I'd honestly say that just straight up using Arcane Shot as pure removal for a 2 health minion may not be the best thing in the world. Though Arcane Shot does have great value and accelerates quite nicely, so overall Arcane Shot just functions very well. The reason most people don't use it, however, is it doesn't really fit with a lot of the other sort of decks that are around at the moment for the Hunter. A lot of the Hunter decks we see are based on hitting the face very quickly rather than smart trading. A lot of the Hunter decks we see are based around the idea of literally ignoring everything that physically possible and hitting the opponent in the face as much as they physically can. So I can see why some people would be a bit reluctant to take a card that's arguably not necessarily as good as other cards because it doesn't put a minion on the board, and it's just basically just 2 damage. It could be useful in a face hunter based deck, or a deck that does damage very quickly, but you don't really want to be drawing this in the late game. You really want to draw it in the early game and get rid of something that's a little bit more stubborn. Still, Arcane Shot is a nice, reliable card. It's not amazing, it's not fantastic, but I think it should probably see a little bit more use than what we're currently seeing at the moment.